Hmm. Good morning. Good morning, one and all. And it is morning here. And a nice day for Seattle. I want to welcome you all to Tea with G, which is basically an opportunity for everybody to engage in the wonderful practice of self-inquiry, which which is so simple it's mind-boggling, and yet it seems to be the most difficult thing to do, and the most difficult thing to do consistently. So what is self-inquiry? Well, first let's see why would we do such a thing as self-inquiry? What is the point? How is it different from like meditation or any of the other spiritual practices? You know, the attainment of samadhi or the yogas or anything. Actually, it's referred to as one of the paths of yoga called jnana yoga, the path of wisdom or true knowledge, also as advaita Vedanta. But it's different from all of that. It's not meditative. It's not a form of meditation or yoga as the way, you know, we in the West think of it simply as exercise, which is not its not its origination. But so what it is an attempt, a practice, a sadhana by which we clear away from our active consciousness all of our assumptions about who we are, all the assumptions you have about yourself, ideas, beliefs, concepts, habits, behaviors, memories, all revolving around our self-image. That self-image is a mental construct. And because we are so invested in and believe in so deeply our sense of self, the mental image that we hold of ourselves, with all the stories that go along with it, the whole history and future and aspirations and desires and fears and all of that, since we believe in it so thoroughly, we experience life as the person we think we are. And then we look around at what's going on in our lives, and then our lives appears to be confirming that this is in fact who I am. All the evidence is there. The reactions are there. The habits are there. All of the evidence that I really am who I think I am is there. Not recognizing that the reason the evidence is there is because this belief in who we are, this belief that I am this image that I hold of myself in my mind, this self-portrait, believing in it is the cause of the evidence. But nobody told us that. Nobody told us that the belief in who I am came first, and then the evidence that confirmed it. And because of that, we think all the evidence, all the experiences, everything that's been saying to us that, you know, you're not enough, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, or pretty enough, or rich enough, or old enough, or young enough, all of those things, all of the ideas we hold about ourselves, they got installed in us before any evidence of it began to accumulate. As a child, we're completely undifferentiated consciousness. Nothing means anything. We don't have names for stuff. We don't have ideas about stuff. We have no concept of ourselves. It takes a very long time for us to start referring to us as ourselves as I, right, as opposed to them. There's no difference between it. I mean, it's fun to watch a little kid as they begin to discover their hands and stuff, right? Because there's in the beginning there's no sense of any of that. It's just this pure, undifferentiated, expansive consciousness, just this being with, experiences, none of which have any meaning or purpose or anything. All of that gets added later on. And with it comes a sense of who I am. So instead of just being this undifferentiated consciousness, just experiencing, we become somebody. We get a name, we get a gender, we get assigned ethnicity, we get given beliefs, we get put through the various educational institutions and our culture, and we come out the other side of all of that with an image of ourselves that was given to us, was kind of installed in us, may even say imposed on us. And in the process, that what I like to call the original innocence, that original purity of your being, is kind of like buried under the surface, under all of that. So if you recognize that in your life, all of the difficult circumstances you've run into, the frustration, the fears, the unfulfilled desires, the doubts, the insecurities, all result from the self-image you're holding of yourself. If you can just grasp that for a moment, then self-inquiry, that is, what if this is actually original equipment and what if this was imposed on me later, becomes a rather important question. Because it's not idle. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be this other self, and then this one's going to have a lot of problems as well. Different ones, maybe better problems, but more as well. Not just a different version of you, but what was there before this concept of yourself formed, before this idea was there. Now, I don't want anybody thinking, what are we just going to be back like kids, can't, find our hand, can't find our mouth. No, it's not like that at all. The beauty, the gift of being born a human being is that you can consciously, through self-awareness and self-inquiry, recover that original innocence, but now not as the child that is still, while innocent, ignorant of itself, but as the fully awake, fully aware, conscious being that becomes fully aware of itself. That's what's called enlightenment, by the way. And those beings who have done that are what we call enlightened beings, Buddhas and sages and the like. So that's what self-inquiry is all about. It is, at first, that's all it seems like it is. Like, I'm not this, not that. Maybe you've heard of that phrase, neti, that is a technique that's been used by rishis and sages, for a very, very long time, which simply comes from the notion that here I am, here's the world, right? So here's me, here's all the stuff going around. So it seems pretty self-evident that if I can perceive it, it can't be me, because I'm here perceiving it. Now, everything we know about ourselves, all of our concept of ourselves, are all things we perceive about ourselves. Yes, these perceptions are thoughts and feelings. They're much closer than, looking at the tree outside and saying, I'm not the tree. But what about your thoughts? You're also perceiving your thoughts. The self-image I was talking about all the way up to now, and still am, is a thought. It's an image. It's a very complex thought. It's all sorts of aspects and stories and history and all. I mean, it's a big story, but that's all it is. It's a story in your mind. So I'm not that. So if I'm not that, then what am I? That's the famous phrase in Ramana Maharshi's way of approaching that. If you look at anything, okay, a bad feeling arises, a difficult situation arises, just a deluge of thoughts and little voices telling you how horrible you are. We just say, okay, all of this is happening. It's all arising. To whom is it arising? That is, who's perceiving it? Well, I am. Okay. Right? Good so far? True? You're perceiving it. Right? Okay, so who are you then? That's the question then. Okay, this is arising. To whom is it arising? To me. Who am I? Now that answer doesn't come instantaneously, because the answer to who am I would have to in fact be you, not just another thought. But what it does do is turn our attention away from what's going on out there, where all of our identification has come from, and turned it back towards the one who's looking at it. Which, just a little bit of, just one little extra step, and you realize that whatever I perceive can't be me, then what is me can't be perceived. I can't know myself as one thing knows another. This is the importance of self-inquiry, and I always have to emphasize that this is not the kind of thing that you can watch a couple of YouTube videos and go, oh yeah, I got it. Because if you say you got it, you didn't. It's pretty simple. Because it's not graspable by our minds. You get pointers. I got the pointer. I know where to look now. But I don't see anything. Correct. Keep looking. Keep looking where you can't see anything. But to just be willing to follow this, to get guidance, to actually speak to somebody who knows how to do it, to help you. So you don't get stuck in your mind, and you don't rely on a bunch of YouTube videos, some of which are good, most of which aren't. That you get the correct approach to it, and then you practice, and you practice. Now, all any teacher can do, no matter how good they are, no matter how enlightened they are, right? All they can do is point you at it and remind you that they're not the source of the answer. Any teacher that says, here's the answer, doesn't know the answer. Right? Because you're the answer. Self-realization, right? Discovering myself as I truly am. Nobody can tell you that. Only you. Self-realization, the answer to the question comes of who am I, comes from you. And only from you. That's why it is, while it is a very solitary activity on one hand, on the other hand, there's a lot of people who are on this path, and to get that kind of support is part of the deal. To get it and to give it. To create safe places for folks where this kind of inquiry can happen, because oftentimes when we really start looking at ourselves, we don't like what we see. It's not always a pretty sight. So bear that in mind. But I just invite people to, I don't want to say take it seriously, because that sounds like work and labor and stuff like that, but to truly invest energy and focus and make a priority of discovering who you are. If you recognize that your entire life has been shaped all of it, both the quantity and the quality of your entire life has been shaped by who you believe yourself to be, then it won't be just some kind of luxury or some kind of spiritual quest that we can talk about. Right? It's not a cappuccino awakening. We're just going to sip over and have a little conversation in the coffee shop. That this is the difference between a life that is full of joy and happiness and a life that's drudgery. Because you can't actually be happy until you're being yourself. That image in your mind, not being you, it's never going to be stable. It's never going to be content. It's never going to be able to just relax. Because it takes a lot of effort to be who you're not. But it takes zero effort to be who you are. Because you are that. It's simply what you are. So I'll leave it at that and just say hello to people and see if there are any questions to be offered up, and I will do my best to answer them in the best way I can. And, while Tea with G is primarily about self-inquiry, I do take questions about emotional healing and the like, because I found that a lot of people who get onto the non-dual spiritual path need a little bit of emotional support, emotional healing, in order to really make the depth of an inquiry required to be able to allow yourself to know yourself. But not as one thing knows another, as only you know. So, on that note, hello to Rosario and to Eva. There's Poland represented, Dorte and Denmark, and Levi. Hello, Levi. Good to see you. Okay, let's see. I'm just trying to put a little Latin accent in it because you said from Ecuador. Hello, welcome from Ecuador. There's Christina. You answered my question before I even asked it. Why do we need to do self-inquiry? Well, before you call, I shall answer. Yes, wonderful. Any follow-up on that, Christina? Hello, Ella. Good to have you back here. Yes, good to be back, and it's good to have you back. Christina, the delusion. Okay. The delusion. Okay, is there a question there? There's like, the delusion. Sounds like, it could be the name of a movie or something. Delusion, starring Robert De Niro. Hello, Roberto. Hello, Roberto. There's Nay. Hello to you. And Ceballos, or Ceballos, if you're from Argentina. It's Norman. Hi, Norman. In Ecuador. Oh, wonderful. So the floor is open for any kind of questions. Christine, if you had a question about delusions, I'm happy because the world is under the spell of quite a I commented when you talked about the false self. Okay. The false self believed is a delusion. That's what a delusion is. It's I'm just I believe I'm a chicken. That's the difficulties that when we believe things about ourselves that are patently not true, and it's evidence to other people that it's not true. I know a lot of people. I know attractive women who think they're ugly. I know some wealthy people who think they don't have enough. Delusion. It's totally deluded because the nature of the false self which is, you can also call it the ego. You can call it the sense of identity. You can call it the self-image. Its nature, because it is just an image in the mind, it's completely unstable. Right? So it clings very tightly to something that appears to work, and that is function enough that you can basically get your needs met. And so it is delusional. You are not who you think you are. Right? The thing is that this delusion is so universal, everybody's suffering from it, that we have this kind of tacit agreement with everyone that this is what we all are. Oops. We're all like that. So we're all laboring under the same delusion of a false sense of self. The false sense of self is what needs to be questioned. And if you just take to heart, it was the first thing that, I can never pronounce his name, but he was the guru to Nisargadatta Maharaj. And that's, I think, the first, or one of the first things he said to him, is before he was Nisargadatta or enlightened. Friend brought him to meet this guy, and he said to him, "You're not who you think you are." And there's something primed in him, something ready, because he listened very intently and very engaged, and simply did what his teacher told him to do. And he said, I trusted him. I believed him, so I did what he told me to do. But that was the first thing he was told, is, you're not who you think you are. Well, then who am I? If you take that to heart, you go, for him, it was just being in the presence of his teacher. It caught him. He started to look at it. What does he mean by that? He even said he puzzled over it. So, what do you mean I'm not who I think I am? And so he started looking at it. He started examining it. And basically, his practice was simply going to that sense, I am. Okay, let's just start with I am. Now that's a fact, right? That's not a thought. It's not a concept. It's not an idea. It's not somebody's opinion. It's not something somebody told you, right? Your parents didn't sit you down one day and have the talk, right? I gotta talk to you today, Gregory. Well, you are. You exist. What? Huh? Nobody did that. We just know. Everything knows. Everything is sentient. Cords get in the way. Everything that is sentient has a sense I am. What's unique about human beings is we have this capacity to know that I know, to actually recognize the I am. I can't even remember when that happened, when I was a very, very little kid, recognizing that I was. I'm trying to imagine death and the like. I won't go into that story, but anyway, if you take it to heart, you go, oh, well then how do I know this is me? How do I tell what is and what isn't? And the motivation is, as the sages will claim, that all suffering comes from not knowing who you are. The way I put it is that the quality and quantity of your life is completely determined by the sense of identity that you hold of yourself, which means that it is the cause of suffering. All the suffering you experience is the result not of the circumstances, but of the image that you hold of yourself, which is what is reacting to the circumstances. Right? So, who are you? It always comes back to that. Who are you? Really? These things aren't me. What is? And it is both a process of seeing through at various levels the things I've believed to be myself, and at the same time asking that question, who am I then? For Nisargadatta, the process, as many teachers recommend, is he went to the one thing we can all know for sure. We may not know who we are. We may have all sorts of false images of ourselves. But you can't deny that you are. You may not know what or who, but you can't deny that. That's an absolute, unmistakable, undeniable fact. We all know it. We all feel it. So what he did, very simply, was, I am. That I know. Just going to that sense of, I am. Okay, I am. Let me say, I am this. Right? I am this person. I was born here. I did these things. I'm this old. I'm this smart. I'm this tall. Whatever. You go, well, that I don't know. I don't really know what any of that means, but I do know I am. I am, full stop. Right? Which is simply the sense of being, your own beingness. Right? You just are. Right? Well then, starting there, what is this I am? Without referring to anything, right, that is other than you. Because that you know, I am here. What's that I am that is just here? Because it's not false. And it's not a concept. And nobody gave it to you. And it wasn't imposed on you. In fact, without it, you don't even exist. It is the oneness of your own existence. Anyway, let me keep going here. Norman, or Ceballos, it's difficult to wake up from the illusion of time. Yeah, let me keep going. The concept of non-doership is helping me somewhat. It's difficult not to have an emotional reaction to something that seems probable to happen, especially something negative. Yes, you're absolutely right. It's not only difficult to not have an emotional reaction, it's impossible. Right? You see, we have this idea that somehow to be awake means there'll be no negative reactions, what we call negative reactions. That it'll just be kind of this, perpetual bliss, or I don't know, these kinds of ideas of it's almost a blankness, that there's no more emotional reactions, there's no more, because there's no more attachment. There's thoughts, emotions, and sensations are what make up all of human life. As long as there's the sense that there's a body present, even when you know you're not the body, which is what the awakened being is, that they are just the consciousness in which the body is happening, the bodies will be there. There will be emotional responses. There will be thought patterns. The only difference is the sage does not identify with any of them. And now they're just here. The sage will also look and say, it's probable that that would happen, but that would be without fear, right? Okay, yes, it's probable that this is going to happen. There's a lot of things going on in the world right now. There's a probability that some of them, horrible as they are going to happen. Okay, now what do you do with that? Right. Well, you prepare as best you can. You do what you can, if there's really something horrid, to do what you can for it to not happen, right? But there's what's not there is emotional attachment to a particular outcome. It's not that suddenly the negative things all become positive. This is God's plan and all that. It's more like this is what is happening. The awakening does not take you out of life. It immerses you more thoroughly in life, but as who you actually are. It is the real you responding to the world, not the sense of you. So it's difficult to wake up from the illusion of time, yes, because time is one with the false sense of self. You can't wake up from the illusion of time. You must wake up from the sense of being a person, because time is included in that. Time, space, history, memory, lives, all of it are included in the sense of being the person. The awakened one is simply the pure awareness of all this, but none of this affects it. It's like the sky. It's aware. There's storms and hurricanes and tornadoes and torrential rains, and there's also these beautiful puffy clouds and lovely days, and people in the park and the like. All of those come and go. The sky is completely untouched by it. If we identify with the storm, or identify as trying to be the sky, but in order to be the sky, I've got to get rid of all the storms, you're a seeker because you're looking in the right direction. But you're seeking a state rather than the truth of you. This isn't just another state of mind or state of consciousness that the person attains. It is the it is the liberation from the person. You see, the person, or the false sense of self, doesn't exist. That self doesn't exist. It's only an image in the mind. Believed, it now shapes our perceptions, so we live the life as if we were that person, even though we're not. There comes a point, if you're fortunate enough to encounter this kind of teaching, take it in and begin to practice it, that you recognize that you're not that. Right? And you've been experiencing it only because you believed it. And belief has a lot of dimensions to it. It's not just, I'm not that person and it's all going to disappear. It's very deeply ingrained in the whole nervous system, and the whole functioning of life. So it's a shift of perception that then works its way in, right? First from recognizing, it then moves into just begins to feel it, right? And that's through the process of self-inquiry and meditation. Right? And eventually it permeates, it marinates, it colonizes the whole system, and then the truth of you is actually living as the body. So there's not a person who becomes awakened. Do you follow that? That's the big one. It's not a person who wakes up. There are no enlightened beings. There's only wisdom. There's only the self, the one awareness, manifesting through all form. There's nothing wrong with form. Right? The problem isn't form. None of this has to disappear. The problem is an imaginary sense of self projected onto the form. And that image of ourselves, because it is just an image, it has to have something to a reference point. It can't point off into nothing, which is why it doesn't like to do self-inquiry, because there's nothing there. It has to have a reference point. The reference point is the body, is the form. Right? But what is the form other than simply the manifestation of the presence of the self? Like a song is a manifestation of music. music is infinite, varied, and it's never stuck in one song. But every song is music, or an aspect of music. Everything is an aspect of the self. Only the sense of a person, that this form is a personal being operating independently from the whole, that illusion or delusion is what messes everything up. There's actually no person. So when you hear a non-dual teacher not teaching very well, saying things like there's nobody here and there's nothing to do, it's misleading. Right? What do you mean by that? There's nobody here and there's nothing. I'm not here. I don't have anything to do. Yes, of course you are. What isn't here is the images we're holding of ourselves. That's what's not here. The image of ourselves as being the one doing and attaining and seeking and all of that's what you begin to see through. And that the capacity to see, to perceive, to know is not personal. It doesn't belong to a person. It is the self itself. Consciousness, without bounds, boundaries, without limits. Just pure awareness. Which is what you are experiencing right now, aren't you? You're aware. And you're aware of being aware. Well, what's aware of being aware? Other than awareness itself. You are awareness itself. In front of awareness has appeared the sense of a person. It's not an accident that emerged from the sense of awareness. It's as well. There's the sense of a person and the sense of the dissolving of the person, all of which is being perceived. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just leave it. Let's just leave it. Or it was. Savasho says, got it, thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I did go on. I think you said that even, 10:34. So I went on for 5 more minutes even after you said it. So let's see. Hello, Sylvia. I didn't say hello to you. I didn't say it to you before. So, yeah, don't worry about doership, non-doership, choice, free will, illusions of time and all of that. Because just looking at, that's all going to be a distraction that we could describe and talk about, but don't worry about that. Who's the doer? Who are you? Who is it that recognizes doing and non-doing? What is it that can even see, well, this is a concept, this is not a concept. What can see that? How do you know? Even when you said, thank you, got it, right? How did you know that? I got it. Wait a minute. There's a recognition and the sense of, I got it. Who's that I? Was there some I that now got it? Or was just the sense of knowingness, and then an I appeared that says, I got it. Look very, very carefully. I don't know you all that well to know exactly how far you've gotten in this process, but I'm kind of taking a guess from the question that you've been around the block a few times, so I answered it like that. So let's see. It's Christina. After yesterday's session, I saw myself from a completely different perspective, not with the mind and understanding. I felt it. It was like you looked directly at me, the real one. Well, yeah, because that's the only one there is. I'm going to look at the unreal one. It's unreal, right? Since it's unreal, it's just an image. So what I'm looking at is, there's nothing else there to see except the real you. You could see the thoughts about the real you, but you're there. Oh, gosh, I messed up my hair. You're there. It was like I stepped outside the trap and struggled and looked at it. Yeah. Right. You did step outside and looked at it. Now, take one more step, recognize, wait a minute. There was a sense of me stepping out and looking at it. But I've in fact always been looking from that position. I just didn't know it. Even the stepping out was seen, wasn't it? The one who stepped out is actually just part of the whole picture here. Because the infinite can't step out of anywhere. Where? Where's it going to step to? What's it going to step on? Right? Can't get bigger, can't get smaller. Right? Just continue with it. You are real. Yes, yes. And what we're doing, we did in the class yesterday, is we're simply separating out what's me and what isn't me. That's it. That's all we're doing. The end result of that is an enormous sense of freedom, of emotional contentment, happiness. There's a sense of release and relief as it settles in. The form itself begins to resemble more and more the light that you are, and less the person that you're not. Because right now, it's organized around this image of who you think you are, which is why our life goes the way it does. As that image changes, so will everything else. But not right away. Not right away. It takes a minute, and there's good reason for that. But beautiful. Looked directly at you. Capital Me, yes. Indeed. Indeed. The real one. Which is the only one I really know. Which is why class is so enjoyable. Ava, I was trying to remember the moment when the first time I knew I am. Remember the moment before I knew that, and the moment after. I couldn't do it. I just wanted to catch this moment. I am. Because the moment when it dawned on me, is that possible? Well, I don't know. I suppose so. Anything is. I do know it's not necessary, right? I just remember as a little kid, not even in school yet, so I must have been like 3 or 4, and I was taking my own bath, because it always happened in the bathtub. I had the water running thing there, and for some reason I was bathing myself very early. Well, my mother was just totally neglectful. God knows where she was. But so I was taking a bath, and the water, I was playing in the water, and it was just these thoughts about dying. If I die, but I couldn't fathom not being. And I was fascinated by that. 4, right? Now, I've talked to a lot of people, and pretty much everybody has this sense of being in this place where as a little kid, and it just, but you don't have words for it. We don't have any spiritual concepts. I mean, I grew up in the Midwest in the United States in the 50s and 60s. There was no spiritual concepts. It was just, you were Catholic or Protestant. There was, about 5 flavors that everybody was. So there was nothing I could think about nature of consciousness and all of it. Besides that, I was 4 for crying out loud, which would make this, 1956? Yeah, 1956. God, that was a long time ago. And I remember that. I remember it happening more than once, right? But that's it, right? So did I know that I was at that time? No, I was just I couldn't imagine not being. There was just this sense of being there, right? Now, did I say I know that I am? Nah, nothing like that. Right? that probably didn't ever really say that and put all this together till much later, much, 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 much later. Even after I'd had an experience of just of recognizing that I could not tell whether any of this existed completely in my mind like a dream, or there was some kind of external reality. I couldn't find any proof that any of this existed outside of me. It was quite a, didn't do much, didn't change me very much. Right? That it was another. Well, it did a little bit, in the sense that after that, I went from being, a happy, 17-year-old kid just getting stoned all the time, to a very cynical, dark kid that eventually led me to the bigger revelation that kind of changed everything. But that's another story. So it's not like, oh, I am, right? I think everyone, at least everyone who's ever told me about similar stories, that it's kind of an indistinct sense that's there. But really, until somebody draws your attention to it and says it's important, right? It's nothing. We don't think about it. We don't live in a time when people are like interested just in the sense of being, right? We just, yeah, I am. So what? Yeah. So what? Yeah. I'm hungry, or let's go watch a soccer game or something. So yeah, I suppose it is possible, right? But more importantly, it's like, make it important. You are now. Make it really important. It's like, wait a minute. This is the most important thing, because without that, there isn't anything else. Without that, I don't exist. Therefore, nothing exists. So the centerpiece of all experience is the sense I am. That makes it pretty important. That makes it worth spending some time looking at it. Invest some time, but don't. It doesn't have to be formal. Just every now and then, 5 minutes, just kind of go, I am. I just am. And you watch how the I am, and the mind there'll be some, I'm this, I'm that, I'm the other thing, and what about this, and did I leave the iron on, or the toaster or something? Just, I am, just the sense I am, which has to be there no matter what's happening. So even in the worst of circumstances, the most horrible thing, there's like, yeah, I am. If I wasn't, then none of this could be happening. Whether it's wonderful or horrible, it depends on me. Do I depend on it? Well, obviously not, because I'm here. If it's great and wonderful, blissful, and I never want it to end, or it's absolutely horrible, I can't wait for it to end, I'm still here. I'm the same. So what is it that's the same? What is it that sees both? Leave that for now. Levi, even though this question may be coming more from my mind, it's all right. You're allowed, my friend. I accept myself for wanting to ask it anyway. That's my boy. Can you please speak on the relationships between the notion of us not being anything we can perceive and the notion of us everything, all being one and interconnected? Yes. And I emphasize, as my teacher does, and his teacher did, and his teacher did, the sense of I'm not what I perceive, because before we can fathom the oneness of being, we first have to become disidentified with the sense of self that makes self and others. As long as I'm a person That is, I am this body, unique, I end here, and there's this world of things out there. As long as I believe myself to be that, there will be just truckloads, universes full of others, of stuff that is other than myself. So oneness is not something that you discover or that you attain as the person. It's what's there all the time, not recognized, because the sense of a person is projected onto the oneness, and that oneness becomes self and other, me and them, me and you, which is the illusion. There's no me, there's no you. There's only the one. That one is not one numerically. Right? It's not one as opposed to two or opposed to none. It is simply like all music is one, isn't it? You look at every song, every piece of music, going the most primitive banging a stick on a hollow log or something, up to the most sophisticated music you can possibly imagine. It's one, isn't it? It's all music. It is all manifestations of that one thing we call music. Everything that exists is a manifestation of that one essence of all that we call the self, or pure being. Being itself manifests as what appears as beings. It's kind of like selfness reflected all around. The universe is the body of God, you might say. So the process of you're not that brings you out of identification with the form, which is where the absence of oneness appears to exist. This sense of a self and another. You can't just get rid of that. You go through this of, oh, I'm not that. I'm not that. It doesn't mean this doesn't exist in some way. It's just I'm not seeing it as it actually is because I'm looking through these eyes. I'm looking through the eyes of the sense of a separate self. When that dissolves, right, the boundary breaks down, and suddenly there isn't self and other. That it is all the content of consciousness. That is, it's consciousness simply pondering itself. It is the self knowing itself. And that knowingness is what we experience as, well, everything. But the everything doesn't have an independent self-existence. That's why Buddhists will refer to it as no self. There's no selfhood in the tree. There's no self in this body. There's not a person here, GP, who's talking, hopefully getting inspiration from, on high, that's coming in, and GP now is delivering it. There's no GP. there's nobody here. Now, you don't have to be a Buddha to recognize it, to just recognize that this is what is happening. The one self, which is the only thing that knows, it's the only thing that sees, feels, hears, or speaks. In order for speaking to happen, there's a form that gets manifested with all the piece parts. Right? It's got to have lips and tongue and jaws and a larynx and a throat, and air has to exist in order for the speaking. And then what does the speaking do? Well, it expresses the self. It expresses the nature of the self. It expresses, when that comes out purely, it comes out as wisdom. But the self isn't a person. In fact, there is no person. There is only the self. You are the self. The self. Mooji would like to put it, you are God in drag. form is always manifested from the formless. And in the midst of that is the I thought that says, I am the form. But it's not. Am I taking this too far? Okay. Let's just go back to what you are not. If you can perceive it, it can't be you. Then what am I? Right? From there, eventually, what will happen is the sense of consciousness being bound, contained within a body, will dissolve as an illusion, but the experience of the body and the point of perception of the body will remain. Just like the illusion that the sun is going around the earth, nobody suffers from the illusion of it, yet to the senses, that's exactly what we are experiencing. Right? If in the early morning light you mistake a rope for a snake, right? You'll suffer, you'll run away, you'll be afraid of the snake, all because for a snake that doesn't actually exist. A little more light and suddenly now it's a rope. But now, when it's dimly lit, right, and you're not sure, you don't just assume it's a rope, right? Oh, it's a rope. Oh, there might be a snake there. See? So the experience of the illusion, the experience is still there. The illusion of which is how we misperceive it, no longer is there. And so you will experience you, me, as a point of perception, but it will no longer be regarded as there's a real honest-to-God you there and a real honest-to-God me, and we're duking it out over something, right? Or we're having a beer together, whatever it might be, because that's the experience of love. That the one manifests as many. Because without that, there's no manifestation. In order for that one to be expressed, there must be everything. In order for you to exist, there must be a universe in which this you can have this appearance. This sense of it. The sense of existence is the self. The appearance of the existence is what we call I, and you will, as long as the body's there, call it I. You won't, announce yourself as I am. Hey, pleasure to meet you. I am. Or I'm God. That's even worse. People do that. Hi, my name is God. The little name tag. That would be that'd get you out really quick. But I think you're getting it. I'm just kind of going off because I love this stuff. That's why. That's why I'm going off, because I love it. So is that good? Is that working for you there, Levi? Right? Are you getting? You can see why this is all intertwined, right? Which is why I put emphasis on emotional wholeness, emotional freedom, emotional healing, because it's very easy to get lost in a sense of there's nobody here, there's nothing to do. It's all an appearance, and we end up just still being quite dysfunctional. And I have a friend of mine who's a Zen master who was, he says, I was in the clouds, nothing existed except myself. He says, one day I noticed my life sucked. Nothing was working. It was a complete disaster. And so suddenly I just had to embrace suffering, really suffering, down from the mountain of enlightenment, which he maintained for 15 years or something before he realized that wasn't it. There was an embracing of this. It had to come out of this place where I am all, nothing else exists except myself, to a place of real oneness where I am one with everything. There is everything. It is all myself. And yet I am experiencing it, not just as this, this perfect little bliss, but as everything, as the bliss and the suffering. And now I see there's no sufferer. Just, am I getting you, Levi? Anybody, actually. Requests are, we take requests. Nay, hey G, often you talk about Maya. Could you please explain what it is and its origin? Thanks in advance. Okay. Let me see if I can put it in a way. Maya is the word. It's the Sanskrit name given to the great delusion. It has been pictured sometimes as a goddess of some sort, which often is these kind of really intangible things that are operating that we do not see or we misinterpret. And so Maya is one of that. It stands for the great illusion. It's talking about the illusion, the snake in the rope, and the other stories. The illusion that we project upon what in fact is nothing but the manifestation of the self, or in Hindu you'd say it all is Brahman. The world is an illusion, only Brahman exists. Right? Shankara then added to that, Brahma is the world. There's the connection. Right? There's the I am not, I am. This is an illusion. Whatever I perceive can't be me. So anything that I thought was me, that's an illusion. So it's all gone. And then, I am the world. The world is an illusion. Only Brahman exists. Brahman is the world. Now, in practice, have you noticed in your spiritual practice, even in emotional healing practice, that when you even see something really, really clearly, we're tapping and something comes up, it's just so clear now. And there's a sense of relief and the sense of freedom, right? And yet the little fucker doesn't go away. It keeps coming back. That's Maya. Just this. At the center of this whole thing, at the root of this whole thing, there is the sense of the pure sense of I am, right? The pure sense of being which we all have. Maya is the sense of I am this, that, thing. I am someone. It's the add-on. It's the little thing that gets added on to the end. It's like in the making laws, they put a rider onto the bill to try to sneak it through. It's, I am the body. I am this person. That's Maya. And so, if I'm talking to a group of folks about emotional healing, I'll refer to that kind of thing as simply the underlying assumption, right? The energetic assumptions that appear, that kind of raise their head over and over again till we really get down to the root of the assumption, at which point all the various appearances of that assumption are finally consumed in the center of it. For example, one I always use is, everybody has the experience, because of your childhood experience, of I am not enough. Now, we don't want to think that, but as an energetic assumption, it's an assumption a young child would draw because they have to blame themselves when they're not being treated right, and nobody got treated right. Right? So everybody's got it to a more or less a degree. It's too painful to actually be conscious. It takes a while to create an environment safe enough where you can confront these deep energetic assumptions. you'll see layers and layers and layers of how the assumption, I'm not enough, in some way, manifests itself. We're trying to overcome it, self-help, to become improved, to become that one who is enough, that never quite works, because the assumption is you're not. But there's layers and layers of stuff about that, isn't there? You know from experience. You get to get through to until you can finally get to the assumption itself, right? To see it's not true, right? But the assumption is that it is, and that's why you're locking heads. And you create an environment where it's safe enough for that to begin to loosen up. Well, maybe I am. It's disorienting because you've lived your whole life as if you're not, right? And now, how are you going to live as somebody who is enough? Well, you since it's the truth, you don't have to worry about implementing it. It'll implement it itself. Now, all that said, I think most everybody can identify that these are the traumas and things that shape our lives. Well, there's a deeper level to it, right? Of which these traumatic events and the like are only an appearance of it, a reflection of it. It's this deep sense. It's a vasana, maybe the queen of all vasanas, and that is the urge, the very subtle impulse to identify, to take shape, to become a someone. It is so subtle, so subtle. Like I said to somebody earlier who said, I got that. There was the recognition of a truth of a thing is there. That's the self. And immediately Maya's there going, I got that. It's created a shape to be someone who got it. You following now? And that's the actual energy that is behind the taking of a shape at all. How that takes shape depends on the circumstances and the time and the culture and the planet you're on and whatever. Those are all aspects of the appearance of it, but the essence of it is this urge to become someone. And if you look closely, you'll notice there's nobody there until the urge appears. So it is the ultimate illusion, because there's not anybody trying to take a shape. Simply the impulse to do so. If you can get to this level of seeing, you're very close to getting to the root of it. I mean, to really breaking apart. But it's awfully clever. It's really clever. It's that impulse to become, it is what causes every birth, right? For every lifetime. And it's always the same thing, taking a shape. This life, you call it GP, is going to fall away, right? And whatever is left that has not yet been seen of Maya and her tricks, whatever's left, there'll be the impulse to take shape, another life. That's where it comes from. That's why there are all the different lives, is because the purpose is to come to see Maya as Maya. And so, I see you, Maya. There you are again. And you'll see it every time that I thought appears, inviting you to believe it. Okay? I could take that to another level, but I think I'll just leave it there, because for many of you that may be something completely new. So it is the impulse behind identification, all of it. Okay? and as you well know now, you've seen it one thing after another. It just keeps coming back up. I just seem to, I see through it. That's not who I am. Yeah, I see it. It's not who I am. Oh, it's right there. I really should get myself a little hand puppet. I keep saying it and I never do it, but it's like, because it's a shapeshifter. It isn't any particular shape. It's the impulse to become one. So that one, can't be that one anymore. Zoop, let's be this one. That's right. Oh my. It's just, I had an awakening. There's awakening, and then, look, I had an awakening experience. I'm awake now. Look at that. Non-duality. And yeah, this is the path, and I'm laughing. I want it to be fun because it is fun, right? I mean, it's the ultimate video game we're playing here, right? It's like find Waldo, find Maya, right? I should do one of those little books. Where's Maya? Yeah. And then there's the day that Waldo finds himself. All right. Let's see. How's that, Nay? How's that for you? Good? Hopefully. It was a long-winded answer, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I am committed to being out of here by noon my time. I have something important I have to do, which is 49 minutes from now. So please get questions in. And do remember that if for any reason I don't get to your question, it doesn't mean you didn't get an answer. When the answers are coming, the answers are never really specific to a person. It's a specific question, right? But the answer that's coming is universally applicable. You will get your answer because the answer is actually coming from you. Right? It may seem to come out of this voice, but what's impelling the answer, what's compelling it, is the desire of the loving nature of truth to answer every sincere question that comes up. So while I may not speak directly to your question, please don't sit there and, well, he's not answering my question. Now maybe I'll check my emails or something, because it'll go right by. Take whatever it is that's there, take it as the offering. So I teach folks to do an emotional healing. Whatever comes up, take it. I don't care how weird it seems, how disrelated it seems, take it. It's the answer. Because remember, ultimately, you are the answer. You. Doesn't matter what the question is, you are the answer. So, okay. Sylvia, I had those thoughts maybe at 7 years of age about eternity or nothing after death, but instead of fascinating, they triggered panic. Yeah. That can happen because at that age, you're older, and now it's like, my granddaughter's 8 now, and a couple months ago, we went somewhere together. I take her out for the day sometimes, and she's very fun as I'm watching her. She's 8. I've been close to her my whole life, or her whole life. We went by a cemetery, and she's passed by cemeteries, but now she's 8. All of a sudden, there was this new she says, "What are all those things out there? The grave markers and the crosses and things like that." I said, "Those are the markers of where the people are buried." Oh, death, right? maybe 5 years earlier than that, she talked about dying, and I had said, well, it like 3 or 4 or something like that. Yeah, well, the body dies, but I'm not going to die. You're not going to die. She got that, completely accepted. So now this is a whole new round. Right? She's looking at the cemetery, but now it's like death. The body's not here. Baba, you're not going to be here. I said, well, yes, I am. I'll be very much here, very much part of your life. You just won't be able to see me like this. I won't look like this. Right? And so at different stages, it hits us, right? You get to be a teenager, you're immortal. In your 20s, you're immortal. You're invincible, right? Later on, you begin to realize, I'm not invincible. I can break, right? Because something does break, or you just kind of begin to mature. So at different levels, at different things, and at a certain point, people go, death, well, not here. Blank, void, is it just nothing but a void? What's happening to all my friends? All of these kinds of questions come up, and they're very, very important to answer. And I'm so fortunate. My granddaughter's fortunate. She can ask me about. We can talk about these kinds of things. And I can give her some insights. I didn't have anybody like that at the time. It's like, well, you're going to go to heaven or hell. What? What? Yeah. You're going to an eternal reward or eternal punishment, torture. Really? That's why. Yeah. That's all there was. That's all there was. Well, there was the metaphysical stuff. There was some of that out there, which was just not really ever made any kind of clarity about that at all. So at any rate, yes. Depending on when something like that happens, it can trigger panic. If I was with you, I would have just said, well, wait a minute. What about that? We don't even know, but right now, just there's this feeling that you are, right? Because even a child can recognize that they are. Yeah, the feeling, yeah. Right? It's not ever going to go away. Right? Things are going to change, but that's not really ever going to go away. Oh, okay. There's a lot of adults that are experiencing that. Heard a story from a fellow, it's here in Seattle, who runs a hospice. Right? So it's people at the end of their life. But there was one woman who came in. She was there at the hospice, and she kept complaining. It's like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? She's 95 years old. She's going, why is this happening to me? She's never actually been willing to confront the reality that the body dies. That everything relationships, all of it is just going to be gone. We don't think about that much either. We like to think about, we had past lives, but guess what? You don't remember it. The things that were so important and mattered. So, what were they again? What was your name again? Did I know you? For me, it doesn't make the stuff here trivial. Because some people say, none of this is important. Well, nothing lasts, does it? How many different lives have you gone through just in this one? People, friends that have come and go, lovers, relationships, marriages, right? I mean, stuff you had, stuff you lost, that car that was like the best thing in the whole world, and now it's like, man, so passé, I want a new one. All of this has been happening all the time, constantly, because none of this is stable, because none of it has actual inherent existence. It's all the reflection of, manifestation of that one self. So all of this is going to pass. What isn't going to pass? What that does for me is say, okay, since I know it's going to change, it's like the most precious thing in the world. It's not some, yeah, whatever, and you're like, oh, it's like, no, wait. This moment is unique. It's never going to happen again. You know, my trip with my granddaughter to the bookstore, and I have some lunch, and they're like, that's never going to happen again. She's not going to be the same. You know, I've been doing that since the time she was born, right? And that was another one, right? She's 3. In fact, June 11th, there'll be no satsang here because my 3-year-old granddaughter has her first dance recital. So that's where I will be. And it starts at noon, and you never quite know when people are going to. So I'm not going to miss that. I love you all. You're invited, but I'm not gonna miss that. Yeah, that's just the little things. That's what Christ meant by changing the water into wine. Right? These little things. God, they matter. Right? The taste of honey. The sound of somebody. The footsteps or the breathing of somebody you love. Right? The sound of rain, or the wind rustling through the trees. The rare sunshine in Seattle. You realize this is all just precious and never going to happen again. Right? So if you really recognize that, we wouldn't argue so much. We wouldn't judge. We wouldn't criticize. We wouldn't. We go, wait a minute, especially on those relationships that mean something to us. We go, no, wait a minute. It'll be gone tomorrow. This moment. Remember, the truth of being is love. The universe manifests the self's knowing of itself and its own absolute delight in itself. It's love of itself. At the root of oneness, it's not an abstraction. It is love. Isn't every experience of love we have some kind of a unity that takes place? Love is just like, right? Love manifested requires two. Love in its essence is just like music without a song. It exists, it's there. But when it happens, two people that love each other, family, all the different kinds of relationships, our work, art, nature, all love, isn't it? Love makes the tree. Love makes the flowers that are behind me. Love makes satsang. It's everywhere. The field of flowers, the bee, the honey that I put in my mate or my tea. It's all love. The nature of the self is love. That's why creation happens. That's why things exist, because of the self's love of itself. It is love in itself. Love is not a thing, it's not an attribute. There isn't a self that loves. Love the self, they're one. I have no idea how I got there. It's almost like, where was I? Yes, here we are. Here we go. That was all just the 7-year-old that triggered a panic. Is there any panic left for anybody about the end? Unless I live to be about 147, 146, 147, I'm a lot closer to the end than the beginning. And It's worth pondering, right? Yeah. Even imagine. I even have a meditation. I did that about that time in between lives, that space in between lives, and what happens. And it's not meant to be a perfect description of this is what you're going to find when you get there. It's supposed to give you just kind of an insight into a transition that takes place, because that's all life has ever been, is a transformation. That's all death is just another transformation. Like puberty, only probably quicker. And not as hard. Puberty was a way harder transition than than death will be. Oh, let's see. Ellie, hiya GP in chat. Eating lunch. Very good. Very good. What are you having? What are you having for lunch? Because I haven't eaten yet today. Christina, the one as an infinite whole. Yes. As an infinite whole that remains absolutely indivisible and irreducible and one without a second, and yet is also the infinite variation and diversity and novelty at the same time. The mind cannot grasp it. The nature of one is one and many and beyond both. Let's see. Fat Muppet. Is it possible to invoke Haile Selassie I? I'm afraid I'm not sure who that is. But anything you invoke, the power of the invocation is you and your belief in it. Emperor Haile Selassie I is another interdimensional being, or an archangel, or anything, right? It's actually you. All the gods, all the goddesses, the demons, the devils, the angels, they're all you. All of them. Everything. Doesn't mean that you don't experience them. You can experience angels and beings and all of that. Right? Because like I said, it is both one and many at the same time. Know yourself as the self, and then, have a nice long conversation with Ali, or with Jesus, or Krishna, or me. It's exactly what we're doing, right? And I get to have it with you. Levi, yes, very helpful to see we are not and what we can perceive. We're not what we can perceive. Invitation is a great aid in unsubscribing from the illusion so that we can better seek and hopefully recognize truth. And yes, emotional healing is making this path easier and helps it feel more embodied, yes, and loving. Because the non-dual path, if it's taken just conceptually, is indifferent and cold. And it's like, where's the vitality? Where's life? Where's holding hands? Where's eating a pizza in all of that? It doesn't actually exist. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah. No, it is the self manifesting as a pizza. That's what it is. So now I'm people making altars with pizzas on it. No, please, if it is, at least make it a veggie, will you? Yeah. It feels more embodied. It also feels easier to go out in public when emotional. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Everything becomes. It's part of the process. And it is the reason I started teaching emotional healing. It's the reason I've focused exclusively on it, other than this, just because I saw this huge need. That, like everything else, non-dual teaching was being used to suppress emotions rather than liberating them. But it was my non-dual insights and understanding, which is the path I was on, that opened up how to go about emotional healing, and that there was an end goal to it. You're not just trying to create an emotionally healthy person, ultimately. You do in the process, but it's to open substantially enough so that you can see that you're more than just the person, whether you're emotionally a mess or emotionally highly functional. Right? There's something deeper and more real that is actually you. And that doesn't need any healing. It's what we're trying to get to when we're engaged in healing. And if you know it's there, the whole process becomes so much easier. And you can see the need to treat this kindly, to not just try to dismiss your emotions. They don't exist, it's all an illusion, or just, buck up and take it or something. It's none of that. It is a powerful way to lovingly regard the nature of human life without trying to change it, but to eventually inhabit human life not as a person, but as the self. Because that's in fact what's happening. This is the self. You are the self. There's a thought there that says you're not, but you are. It's what you are. All this other stuff is there, that is this other different picture and all these kinds of things, and that's all well and good, but you've never been that. You don't have to not be that. That's the ultimate teaching. The process of coming to see that means little by little letting go, becoming more emotionally whole, more able to express yourself, more available for love, more available for life, and transcend it and go beyond it. Right? And that transcendence is not, I'm beyond it, it's all an illusion. That is, no, I'm right in the middle of it. It's all myself. All of it is to be embraced. Transcendence subsumes the lesser. It doesn't negate it. You're somebody trying to negate it. They didn't get it. It's about love, man. It's about love. Get on the love train. Yeah. Christina, the impulse to identify and then the impulse to reject the first impulse, because I'm not supposed to identify as false. So it's you got it, girl. It's good, isn't it? And you say you need new material. I'm talking about, I know you do. It's good, isn't it? I mean, it gets you coming and going. It's the ultimate game. That God is playing cat and mouse with herself. Yeah. How would you go through the process of rediscovering yourself? You'd have to make it a game so good, so well crafted, right? That you play it, and first you have to even discern what the game is. That it is a game, then what the game is, then how to play it, and then to actually get on with the playing. Because Maya, the devil works for God. Our modern idea of the devil in opposition and all of that is just, it's very strange, actually, because the devil works for God. The story of Job in the Bible is, God and the devil have a bet. The devil's, God says, look at him, he's so good, he honors me all the time, he does everything right, and the devil says, yeah, well, look at his life, look at, cush life he's got. Yeah, so what? I mean, anybody do that. Let's put him to the test. God goes, okay. I mean, you wonder which one's the smarter one. And so then God wants to put him to the test, and what does he do? Completely ruins his life. Kills his kids, his wife, his crops, leaves on a pile of rubble with boils, right? A bet. Yes, in the Garden of Eden, it was the serpent who told them the truth. Not God. God said, you do this, you're going to die. The serpent says, no, you're not going to die. He knows that if you eat it, your eyes are going to be opened and you're going to see good and evil. And you're going to be like he is. Like they are, because it was a they. What happens? God says, oh, they've eaten the tree. They now know good and evil. They have become as one of us. Quick, kick them out and guard the tree of life so they don't eat it and become immortal. It's a very interesting story when you actually look at it. But the truth teller in that story is the snake. Later on, people call that the devil and saying it wasn't. It was just this character that was saying which one was actually telling him the truth. Fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. Fascinating. The devil simply means the opposer. Works for truth. Well, God and the devil work for truth. All the gods work for the essence. What's my time getting to be here? Yeah. All the gods came out of this essence, which transcends the knowledge of good and evil. That's actually what the story is about. And Adam and Eve were actually one being. It's another because it later gets interpreted as, Adam's rib taken from side to make woman as a helper for man. Beautiful view for the patriarchal society. Another equally valid translation of it is that Adam, it was a side of Adam. Adam was split in two, male and female. It was like hermaphrodite. It was both split into two. Okay? And that word that was translated as helper, assigned to Eve, she was to help him, also means rescuer. Our modern day myths are built on, how do we say, renegotiated meanings of Scripture, kind of renegotiated so that they would substantiate my position. Very funny. So, it's Maya again. God damn it, girl, there you are again. Jeez, every time I turn around, you're showing up. Oh, man, yes, G, much clearer, very good. Daryl, hello, Daryl. G, I'm convinced that this reality can be nothing but play. Would you agree that there's absolutely nothing that is serious? Inherently serious? No, nothing. There's nothing inherently serious, nothing inherently humorous, because it's all the perspective, isn't it? It's all how you see it. One person, if you're the brunt of the joke and everybody's laughing, it's no joke to you. Everything's like that. It's all the position you're seeing it from. And when we say the world is play, remember, some plays end with boy gets girl and everybody's happy, but other things, a Shakespeare play, the end of it, the stage is littered with bodies. They're both plays, right? There is a beautifully detached compassion that is detached only it's a loving witness and not involved in the drama of life. It's a loving, compassionate witness to it because it knows it's not the ultimate reality, but it's not indifferent. Oh, it's a play. Oh, look at him. It's nothing like that. You're experiencing the play. Now, experience the play as that self where the play itself is the self. So all of this is manifesting yourself. So now the play is, The sky is experiencing the hurricane, but it's not touched by it. But it doesn't stop it, doesn't get in the way. Yeah? So, let's see. So isn't like we play the role of a person or opposed to being that person? So like self, friend, mother, child are roles, but not the person. Yeah, exactly so. And you're a different person in every one of those roles, right? You are. There's just this idea that there's this a person, right there, but there is no person there. It's just this role, now this role, this role. What's actually there is the formless consciousness, the formless I am. I am mother. I am child. I am brother. I am lover. I am boss. I'm employee. I am master. I am slave. Yeah. The identification with the form is the problem. Hello, Ella. Oh, thank you for the reminder how a moment is just a moment and will never come back again. Yes, it's just a moment. It will pass. Good, bad, or different, it will pass. So don't be in a hurry to make it go away, and don't try to hold on to it. It's gonna go. It's gonna go. It was only yesterday when I had brown curly hair. What happened? Poof. Question mark from Fat Muppet. I'm not sure what that means, my friend. Daryl, of course, time's illusion. However, have you noticed that time is undeniable, moving more swiftly? Any thoughts on why? Because time, being a creation of the mind, what time is the relative distance between events. Just like space is the relative distance between objects. Einstein said this theory of all the theories, they stop at the edge of the universe and say, what's beyond the universe? Well, he said, I have to say, well, nothing, because space is only a concept. It's an idea we have of the distance between 2 points, 2 objects. Well, time is the relative distance between 2 events. No events, no time. Right? They're one. They arise together. So when the events speed up, which are all mind events, but in a modern world, it's not nature anymore. It's not just the functioning of life. It is mind events speeding up, one thing after another. The aggressive, more innovation, more. It's the ego gone nuts. Time speeds up because it's events. In the book Future Shock, which was written, I think, early 80s, I think, he pinpointed like the mid-time of human history. No, it's maybe later than that, as like 1975, or maybe 1976, because as much has happened in terms the midpoint of history being marked by, not by, the sun going around the earth, but by the rate of change, the amount of things that have happened within a period of time. So the midpoint of history was 1970. That much had happened in that 20 years when he wrote the book, as it happened previously in all history. What is it now? Right? So yes, and as it's speeding up so fast, the human nervous system can't handle it. It's not meant to handle it. And so what do? We distract ourselves endlessly. We sedate ourselves, we anesthetize ourselves, we amuse ourselves because we can't handle it. So to take time to be with the timeless, which is I am, is the antidote. Just take a moment and go, oh right, I am. That hasn't changed. It's not changing. It's timeless because there are not 2 events taken. There's not a bunch of things to measure time. There's only this which simply is, no beginning, no end. I am. No event. It's just what is. It's not an event that took place or an event that's going to end, so it has nothing to do with time. Visit the I am, right? Until you want to make your home there. Right. And then, instead of being with it, be as it. I am. Oh, wait a minute. The sense I am is my sense of my own being. I really am. By the way, that's the self. It's you. Just saying. Let's see. Ava, meditation, eternal moment between lives. It's on Evensong channel. I've always loved it. Yeah, those of you who don't know, I started a completely separate channel called Evensong, which is just, it's actually the name for the evening prayers in the Catholic Church going back for forever. It was the name of the last band I ever put together, because I really liked the name. But at any rate, it's a whole channel now that's my music that I've done over the years, guided meditations and meditation music that I still like to make, because I still like to make music, because it's kind of one of those things that once you start doing it, you don't stop. It's like a rash. It doesn't go away. Daryl, obviously time is illusory. However, notice that time is undoubted. Yes. I got to that one. Sorry. That moment. Doesn't the self sit at the heart? Yeah, the heart and the self are actually one. These are all metaphors that Ramana used. That doesn't the self as the heart. The self is called Lord of the cave, Lord of the heart, Buddha nature, right? Yes. So go to your heart, right? What's at the center of you? What you value most? What's right at the center of you? But then notice that, wait a minute, I recognize that it's at the center. This is the center of myself. But this center has no circumference. It has no boundary. It is the self. Yes, we have the experience of the heart. Of course we do. Right? The self doesn't lie anywhere. If we think of the heart as a place, consciousness doesn't exist somewhere. It isn't a thing. It has no form. So it isn't something that can be identified in space or time. It is simply your being, and you're aware of your being. That awareness of being is the self, aka you. I got 12 minutes left here. Let me go through it. Doesn't all this confirm an atheist point, since the soul is just a bubble and doesn't exist, so the consciousness, same central energy in everyone, and it's just the main ingredient? Well, it is atheistic in the sense that it is not subscribing to a personal God, right? But it is not how most atheists regard that all creation is a function of matter, or the scientific materialism, the dominant view in science right now. Although that has a lot of cracks in it, and more are appearing. Nonetheless, so the atheist means simply the personal God. Somebody once said they were an atheist. I said, so am I. I said, what? You mean you're an atheist? I don't believe in the same God you don't believe in. It's not personal. Consciousness does not have a locality, like space doesn't have a locality. That's why space is often used as a metaphor. That consciousness is space-like, right? like the sky. Well, the sky doesn't actually end at the blue part, right? It's all of it, right? The center of it is you, but that center is not a location. Here is not a place. You are always just here. I'm going to speed up a little bit to see if I can get through stuff here. Rosario, thank you, GP. You're welcome, Rosario. Mary, welcome, Mary. GP, beautiful explanation of the water to wine analogy. Take the raw experience and transform it into beautiful presence. Peace. Yes, John. Yeah, thank you. Yes. That's what it's about. Changing the water, right, which is a perception, into wine. My God, this is like amazing. This is amazing. You know, the deeper I go into this, the more I just am so blown away by all of this. I see my little flowers back there. You can see one over there. You can't see the one on the other side as well. There's a couple of them there. You know, on sale at Trader Joe's for $3.99. I'm like, you hyperventilate. It's just the beauty is just spectacular. You know, people talk about offending God. Walk past a flower and ignore it. You're offending God. I mean, it's like, dude, look, what more do you want? Anyway, but I digress. The atheist point, is that the word God has been employed in a bunch of ways. In the West, it predominantly means the God of the Bible, the Abrahamic God, whether it be Allah, or be Yahweh, or it be Jehovah, or Elohim, or it be Jesus. It doesn't matter what it is. Right? Those are words of concepts of God that people have laid down and said, this is what the truth is. What's the experience? What is God? The ultimate. You know, a metaphor, a word to try to designate the absolute sense, the absolute truth, the absolute essence of being. That's the I am. I mean, that was the story of Moses, which is a metaphor. Moses never existed. There's no such person. The exile, all of that, none of it actually happened. It's a story to illustrate a point. The discovery in an individual that God and the I am are one and the same. Who sent me? I am sent me. Who sent me here? I am did. Who sent you here? I am. It's the essence of all things, speaking right in the heart of you. The burning bush signifies the turmoil, the suffering. In fact, one of the meanings of the word burning in the Hebrew is mental turmoil, churning. Right in the middle of that, right out of the midst of that, comes a voice. After you recognize, okay, I'm all this burning and suffering, but I'm still here. It just keeps. I am that I am. This I am? No. That I am. The one you're aware of. The one that is aware itself. You are aware. That's your being. That being is God. Not somebody. Right? So, in common usage, I'm an atheist. But in fact, when I use the word God, I am referring to the essence of all things, which is conscious awareness. So, consciousness isn't the main ingredient. It is the only thing that actually is. Everything is made of that. Consciousness is indivisible and irreducible. It is ground zero. They're looking for the unified field theory that will unify the 17 quantum fields. 17, latest count. quantum fields, disturbances of which create the illusion, what we experience as matter. The unified field, the one thing, the stone that was the rejected stone became the cornerstone of the building, is some metaphor about that. Consciousness. Consciousness is the essence from which everything else has arisen, and consciousness is you. It's not something out there. It's what's hearing my words right now as I speak. It's not unconsciousness, it's consciousness. You are consciousness. Consciousness, I, and the I are one. And even consciousness is perceived by the Absolute. Hello, Mary. Love to check out Evensong. Yeah, please do. Please do. I just put it up there because I had all this music sitting around. I thought I'd do something with it. But then, of course, I started getting into it. I go, oh, man, I could change this. And forever tinkering on music. And flowers are the fragrance of God as well as the bird song of God's song. Yes. Love. The love we express for each other. It's the perfume. Peace is the perfume. Understanding is the perfume of God. But it's like a flower. You smell it, the incredible fragrance of it, but you can't find the flower. Everything is the emanation of the fragrance, the perfume of the self. But you can't find the self. It's not a thing to be found. And why can't you find it? Because you are it. All right, my loves. I'm going to cut it off here so I can do what I need to do next. And it's a good place to cut it off, I think. So, thank you all for being here. I may be a teacher, but if I got nobody to teach, I'm not a teacher. Teacher requires people to listen. So, thank you for making me a teacher. Keep it up. All right, everybody. Love you. Until next week.